Now, the crisis rocking the All Progressives Congress in Adamawa State, which led to the party declaring the chairman, Ibrahim Bilal, missing last month, culminated last week when the High Court sitting in Yola, Adamawa State, nullified the governorship primary election that produced Senator Aishatu Dahiru Binani as the governorship candidate of the party. Now, during the party elections, Binani polled 430 votes to defeat her closest contender, Nuhu Ribadu, who scored 280 votes as reported. Justice Anka held that Section 51, 1 to 4 of the Electoral Act was violated, seeing there was overvoting during the May 27, 2022 declaration of the results of the APC governorship primary elections in the state. Now, he held that 50 delegates from Lamurde local government area who ought not to have voted during the primary election were allowed to vote. Ribadu had challenged the emergence of Binani in a suit filed on June 9, 2022, claiming that the outcome, which indicated that a total of 1,011 votes were cast. Now, let's discuss this, and we have two members of the APC from Adamawa State. We have, first of all, Ahmed Lawang. He is a former state organizing secretary of the party. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and good morning, viewers.
All right, we also have the former legal advisor of the APC in Adamawa State, Barrister Shagna Pomadi. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so let's start with you. Now, can you give us a background of how all this internal wrangling actually started? Because, you know, some have actually said that the division in the party started in its failure to retain the governorship, the governorship in 2019, and nothing has actually changed since then.
Well, what is happening in APC in Adamawa is very unfortunate. As pioneer organizing secretary of the party, in 2015 we did well. We were opposition party in Adamawa State, but we took over from the incumbency, the PDP, in 2015, because under the leadership of Binta Mas Garba. Because we are united and we have the party in heart, we do everything possible to make sure that we unite our members. And that's what gives us the success, to make sure that we win the gubernatorial, presidential, National Assembly members. Out of 8, we win 7. Out of 25 National Assembly, House of Assembly members, we win about 22. So, and we are not in position by then. We don't have government. But what we started having problem in 2018, where we have division with the critical stakeholder and the governor. By then, we know Mora Jibrilla. From that time, we started having crisis within the party. So the problem we have is very simple, is the leadership of the party. We don't have leadership in APC, as far as I'm concerned. Because during Bilal regime, Bilal as a chairman, he's supposed to unite the members of the party. But he create division because he want to benefit from his seat as the chairman of the party. And I'm sorry to say it, he doesn't have the party in heart. All what he wants is what to get, to put in his pocket. That's why he intentionally create division within the party. After the primaries election, or before after the congresses, which I contest with him, I contest against him. I also contest for the office of the chairman because of what I believe. I believe that he doesn't have the capacity to govern the affairs of the party in the state. So, but the critical stakeholders in that time, they rally around behind Bilal, and we warned them several times that this guy doesn't have the capacity to take us to the promised land, but they refused to listen to us. During the election, the primary election, the entire state ESCO rallied down behind a candidate, which is a serious problem. So, during the primary election, we have overvoting. We never have overvoting since the inception of the APC in Adamawa State. I was the organizing secretary. We organized several primary elections for a state ward councillorship, state chairman, member state assembly, member national assembly, and gubernatorial. We never have overvoting. But because the party, they have the intention that they realize that they have a candidate that is not going to win the election, intentionally they allow some people that they are not even members of the delegate to cast their vote. Because there is no way you can allow the overvote. First of all, you have to accredit the members. You know the members of the number of people you accredited. And later, the election, we have an overvote of 2 votes. How did you get it?
So you say, I mean, you seem to suggest that this was a case of the party executives in the state versus the choice of the other members of the party, the delegates. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because there is no way you can have overvoting if they organize that election properly. And the mistake that was done by that time, the state ESCO, they are not supposed to participate in that election because we have a committee that came from the national. So we were wondering when we see some members of the state committee taking part in that election. And we want the committee very serious because I was an agent. I was agent of the candidate by then. So we want them that if you really want us to have this thing very perfectly, you people that come from the Abuja, they were assigned to do that work. You should do it alone. But by allowing some people who are not part of the committee to take part, that's why we have a problem.
Okay, but aside that, you know, reports actually have it that Binani started setting up political structures in 21 local government levels, you know, without involving some of the gubernatorial aspirants, and that's another reason why.
Yes, we have another. She also have her own problem, because once you emerge as a candidate, you shouldn't allow what happened to happen, because first of all, if you emerge as a candidate, you have to follow the remaining people that contest with you, the remaining aspirants. So she didn't do that. And later on, she come to form the formation of the coordinators. Ideally, you're supposed to call all those people that contest with you. Sit down together, tell them how are you going to form the campaign team. Every group, they have their own members. They have their own followers. They have their own people that support them. But you silence them, you go ahead, you form the campaign council without their interest. We also didn't call the critical stakeholders to involve them in forming the campaign team. So how are we going to succeed? So we have problems in
all right, but majorly the court relies on the fact that there was overvoting in that primary election, which is why they nullified it.
Yes.
So let me throw this to Shagna, being a former legal advisor of the APC in Adamawa State. What are the options now? Where do you go from here? It looks like the APC in Adamawa is likely going to lose out in the 2023 election.
Well, let me make it very clear. For the time being, from 14th of this month, when this judgment was delivered, precisely last week, Friday, the Federal High Court sitting in Yola, under Honorable Justice A.M. Anka, actually made it very clear that the prayer of the plaintiff applicant, i.e. Malam Nuri Bado, asking the court to order for a fresh primary is hereby refused, meaning as it stands, we don't have a candidate. But this is a governorship electoral litigation. You all know the stakes that are involved, talking about the ruling party in Nigeria with a very broad-based support in Adamawa State. Ordinarily, you should be expecting that that decision is going to be appealed within the stipulated period provided by law before the Court of Appeal, Yola Division, where notice of appeal very soon will be filed. And in this case, having read the judgment, a 62-page judgment, I have discovered virtually all the parties in the matter, both the plaintiff and the respondents, have been largely dissatisfied. So in this case, most of them will be moving to the Court of Appeal to file their notices of appeal and probably thereafter file an order for stay of execution of that judgment, so that the ample opportunity we have of 60 days as provided under Section 285, subsection 1012 of the 1999 Constitution has amended, within which the Court of Appeal will come to test the judgment of the Tri-Federal High Court is available for us, and we as party members were very hopeful that the judgment of the Court of Appeal, by God's grace, is going to be in such a way that it will provide us with some leeway or leverages that will make us actually come out of the woods of not fielding a candidate for the 2023 general elections. So far, these are the permutations on ground.
All right, now, Barrister, now, rather than, approach the courts, isn't there an option, or wasn't there something that would have been done within the party to actually avoid Mr. Ribadu going to the court? Because a lot of people are actually saying that, considering that himself and Binani are, party members, they would have been able to solve it, internally rather than approach the court, and saying that he probably didn't have the party at heart in the first place. That
is a very good question. I think the people are still operating in the old when you come to issue of dispute resolution mechanism. People seems to be more focused on issue of litigation as the way out. But we're in the 21st century, in this global era, there are a lot of innovations that actually recognize issue of amicable resolution of dispute using the ADR. You find available sections of our party constitutions, even the electoral act. If you avail yourself that you want to sort out your problems, it also allows you and accommodates such a thing. But then there must be a level playground that must be created to allow all the parties to come on board. In my own analysis, both legally and politically, I have seen it that both the plaintiff in this case, our respected elder statesman Malam Nuhu Ribadu, and distinguished Senator Aisha Binani, that happens to be all from Yola South. They are of same ethnic group, same religion, virtually everything same. With considering our cultural and moral values, ordinarily some of these things will have been explored. But with all due respect, I think there was a lot of ego was deployed into the field, a lot of instigation, a lot of boasting by both actors involved and even their supporters. And then, as he rightly said earlier, coupled with the inability of the party leadership, not even at Adamawa state level, even at the national level, to move into resolving some of these matters. It may appear somehow that I will make reference to other political parties that have existed longer than the APC. If you look at the dispute resolution mechanism, to an extent they're doing a bit better than us. But where you have a political party where the actors in government and actors in the political party leadership have not been able to come into a consensus or into an alliance or alignment to look at how activities of its party is being run on a daily basis, you will be confronted with a lot of challenges. I think these are some of the reasons or factors that have actually downplayed the efforts of Malam Nuhu Ribadu and distinguished Senator Aisha Binani to explore that mechanism of amicable resolution of the misunderstanding or whatever alleged irregularity that may have been made during.
So what are the national dimensions to the crisis in the APC in Adamawa State, for instance? We've heard, in the realms of rumor, of course, how that there have been influences from the national body of your party to determine who the candidate in the state is going to be, and how it has now contributed or impacted on what's happening right now.
Well, to be fair to the party, I believe they did their best to make sure that they resolve this issue at the national level. But I think the party, we started losing it out when, after the exit of Chief John Oyogu. Up to this moment I'm talking to you, the party, we are not ourselves, we are not coming together as before. And I want to call on all the critical stakeholders in Adamawa State. If they allow APC to go on without a candidate in this 2020 election, the people of Adamawa State and God will not forgive them. Because I think it's only in APC government that you have quite a number of appointments in Adamawa State. But yet, look at what is happening. This is the situation whereby we can resolve it amicably. Had it been that the stakeholders come in, tell these people that you should resolve this issue amicably. There is no need for you going to court. But the best thing for going to court, I think, if there is abnormality in anything, in any process, you should go to court for addressing. Because if he didn't go to court, some other political party may use it against you.
What happens to some of the clauses in the forms where your party members are, as part of the guidelines provided, that you shouldn't resort to going to court except when all the mechanisms within the party are exhausted in terms of conflict resolution and all that? What then happens to that?
Well, I believe Mala Nurubar, before approaching court, he exhausts all the mechanism before going to court, because I believe he wrote to the appeal committee, they sat on it. When he didn't get what he wanted, he wrote to the national body of the party before proceeding to the court. That to show that he uses all the mechanism, internal mechanism, before approaching court. So I believe by doing that, he is right. Because if you are not comfortable with the outcome of the result, it's your duty to go to either to the court or to the party at the national level. But he done that. So now we are in court, and I believe most of them, they are starting applying for in appeal court. So let's wait to see the outcome of the appeal court, because I believe that judgment can stand, because you cannot avoid election and without order for the fresh election. You can do that.
All right. Now, I mean, how will this impact on your party's chances in the 2023 election? I mean, already you are enveloped in litigation such as this, and Adamawa State is just one out of the many other states that are experiencing all these litigations and all that. Being an opposition in Adamawa State, apparently you may not be able to have that formidable force that can actually take over power.
Every political party, they have their own peculiar problem. As I'm talking to even the PDP, they are in court. They are in Supreme Court regarding to primary election. So APC cannot be exception. And after we come out of this problem of case court cases, believe me, we are going to take over Adamawa State 2023, because we have people on ground. We have quite a number of members and quite a number of people that love APC naturally. But the problem I said before, that I said earlier, is the party leadership. We have problem with the leadership of the party. And our stakeholders, they have to come back home to make sure that they organize a very sensitive meeting whereby from this appeal court, anybody that gets judgment, we don't want anybody to go to Supreme Court, because we have only 50-something days remain for us. So please, we are pleading for the critical stakeholders of the party. After this appeal court, anybody that gets the judgment, we should please abide by it and come back and work for the party.
All right, let me forward this question to Barrister, and I would also love you, Mr. Ahmed, to answer that once it's done. Now, despite, we're going back to Binani now. Now, despite her, influence, her position, her capacity, and also her political experience, now, would you say voters in the state are ready to have a woman at the helm of affairs of the state?
Well, that is quite a good question. Binani in person, as a woman, she's someone that has established an indelible track record in the Nigerian political space, because she first launched herself into politics through contest. She was once a member of House of Representatives representing Yola North, Yola South, and Gire Federal Constituency. Thereafter, she contested for Senate. As God will have it, she couldn't win at that time. Under PDM, in 2019, she relaunched herself again for that same position of Senate representing the Adamawa Central Senatorial District, and where she won. And she's doing wonderfully well in her representation, in lawmaking, and in also her lobbying. I think she's one of the outstanding senators in the entire federation. That she has been able to establish some form of acceptance for herself by the electorate. If I sit down here, despite political differences, because I did not actually work for her during the primaries, but I cannot say she does not have the required followership to beat the incumbent governor of Adamawa State if given the opportunity. But like all of our candidates, all the candidates that featured out themselves for the APC governorship election, I think all of them have the electoral value to actually clean this ticket and pilot the affairs of this state or cause the party to victory. Binani has the required acceptance, like all of them, to win the governorship ticket. Forget about the gender issue. Forget about the creed-based allegations you may hear from different angles. This is democracy, and democracy is rule of law. She has all the opportunities under the law to win elections. She also have the political muscle and acceptance, but on conditions, just like earlier pointed out, if she can rally support from other aspirants and the party. She is now assuming this judgment of the court was not delivered some few days ago. She is the property of the party. In the real sense of it, she should subject herself to the party 101% for the purpose of any campaigning. But running a policy of exclusion, which has been alleged, and I confirm to you here, to any listeners that are hearing that is true. You can't run campaigns in exclusion politically and expect yourself to succeed.
Okay, let's hear.
You cannot be overwhelmed that as if you're already the governor-elect of a state just because you are a candidate.
Okay.
So these are some of the issues.
From Mr. Ahmed, and also tell us how this judgment or annulment affects, a women representation in elective offices.
Well, I think I am one of the most people that lead women to be taking part in politics. That's what they used to call me, he for she. And I personally invited Binani to join APC when I was organizing secretary of the party. I registered her in the party. I support her 100% to make sure that she emerged as a candidate of the senatorial candidate. So during the primary election, women all the delegate women vote for her, including some men. So if you look at the difference between her and the other candidate, that to show that how popular she is. But the only problem we have is, like I said earlier, our critical stakeholders. Had they been they involve themselves, they apply the reconciliation mechanism, we can't find ourselves in court today. But because of their silence in the court issues, that's why we find ourselves where we are today. But today I am pleading to them, please, after this appeal court judgment, we don't want any proceeding to Supreme Court because we don't have time. Let's go back Adamawa State and work for the party, because we have people on ground. During that time when the judges make announcement that the party, when he voted the election and I put announcement that the party doesn't have a candidate, many people shed tears. Now, because they love this party.
Yeah, talking about people, aren't you concerned that perhaps this could lead to, massive defection from within your party, looking at the fact that, a lot of people were thinking, oh, there'll be no candidate for the APC in 2023 in this election. In fact, we're hearing the rumors. One of the bigwigs of your party, Governor Bindo, is also said to likely defect to the PDP.
Well, I cannot speak for Bindo, but I know he's a member of the APC. Up to this moment I'm talking to you. He didn't defect until when he defect. And I'm telling you categorically here, after the Supreme Court judgment, APC will come out stronger. And also we are going to take over the Adamawa State. It's naturally in politics. It's naturally. So you cannot stop that. So it's a game of interest. So whether we like it or not, politics is a game of interest. So once my interest was not protected, I have to protest. But believe me, here today, after the appeal court judgment, definitely APC is taking back over Adamawa State.
Okay, earlier you spoke about, the governorship candidate in Adamawa State, Binani herself, how she was, beginning to operate as an island or without, including other stakeholders of the party. And it appears that it's a similar thing happening in your party, even at the national level. The presidential candidate of your party, Bola Tinubu, has been accused of, working, without carrying members or executive members of the party along, especially when the campaign list of the presidential candidate came out some weeks ago. What's your take on that?
In politics, like in every aspect of life, you can't get everything to a distinction level or 100% perfect. I think I give it to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu when it comes to his policy or strategy of inclusiveness and inclusion. To a larger extent, he has done wonderfully well from the day he emerged as the flag bearer of the All Progressive candidate. He quickly swung into action, embraced all those whom had contested with him. I think there's no single aspirant during the presidential convention that will tell you today that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not conduct him one-on-one. And if you also look out the composition of our presidential council so far, I think virtually all of them have been captured into one directorate or the other. What is inclusion again? And apart from that, the members...
But we still have controversy hanging over that.
No, this is politics. Like he kept saying, you always have issues here and there. There are some Oliver Twists in our midst. They will always demand for more. You are heading this. You are in charge of this. And you feel that is not enough. You have to head somewhere. Or the people of your team, or people who are lobbying through you to be part of the list. They are not yet in the list. They are not this. They are not this. You see? Those are the issues. But I think Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he has done wonderfully well in his approach, in his policy and strategy of inclusiveness to ensure that this party have a smooth, focused and a well-strategized campaign council preparing for our outing as soon as possible.
All right, so, well, let's get your final thoughts. Let's give you this 1 minute to just give us your final thoughts.
Well, my final talk is, first of all, I would like to thank our presidential candidate, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for doing wonderful to APC. And I believe he's doing his best to make sure that he promotes APC. He's doing his best to make sure that he resolves most of the crisis we have amicably within the party. So, and I also want to call the national level of the party, they should please, if there is any crisis in any state, they should come in and resolve it amicably, because we don't want issue of this litigation. The issue of litigation is taking us back, because hadn't been the party as serious at the national level, we can't find ourselves where we are today. But because of their negligence, that's why today we are all in court. We have about several cases within the primary election, several cases in court. Adamawa State is among them. So if you look at them, because the national are not ready to tackle all this problem, please, we are calling for the national. The masses of Nigeria love this party. We shouldn't allow anybody to kill our party. People at the national, they should set up to make sure that they resolve all these crises amicably. All right. Please and please.
All
That's
right.
my praise.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us on Daybreak this morning to talk about the APC in Adamawa State.
You're always welcome.
Thank you.
The guests have been Ahmed Lawan, fortunately, fortunately, the namesake of the president of the Senate. This very Ahmed Lawan is a member of the APC from Adamawa State and is a former state organizing secretary of the party, alongside a former legal advisor of the APC in Adamawa State, Barrister Shagna Pamadi. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.